And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, a real estate and finance expert, and goes to bat for you every day as your consumer advocate. Your host, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth centered around your real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning. Over 80 show partners now with the Real Estate Quarterback Show and our second brand, the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we all want to educate, entertain, enlighten, but most importantly, we want to engage you in an effort to help you win in any marketplace.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Now, I want you to pull out your smartphone, save our Consumer Advocate Hotline number in your phone. It's 813-917-1894.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-917-1894.
Baby, don't forget my number.
And we also want you to bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. That's our website, blog site, a plethora of information available for you at consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors, and you can see all of our contact information. You can actually watch the live stream as well from realestateradiotampa.com. And, you know, we don't care if you're climbing that corporate ladder, if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. We want to educate and entertain and help you win. This segment is brought to you by Michael Vogt, expert massage therapist with Back In Health Massage, helping people with neck, back, shoulder, hip, and leg pain feel better. Big shout out to Michael Vogt on Gun Highway in Tampa, right there at the intersection of Bush, Gun, and Del Mabry. Top 10 massage services in Tampa Bay, as voted by the readers of the Tampa Bay Business Journal's Best in the Biz Awards. As well, a big shout out to the Maids Cleaning Service. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties. 24-hour, 100% satisfaction guaranteed by the Maids Cleaning Service. They are referred for a reason. And got a couple of hot listings here. Also, big shout out to Victor Alleman. He's got the cover of Homes and Land magazine this month with a beautiful property on Marina Drive over in Tarpon Springs. And we also run a full page ad in Homes and Land magazine as well for any of our real estate listings that are sellers out there. Great time to get off the fence, get into the selling side of real estate. There's low mortgage rates, which we're going to talk about today. Let's go around the horn here, make our introductions. Curt Lorden back in studio. The mortgage maverick is in the house.
Regulators.
Yeah, I had to take a week off. Went down to Fort Myers to see my dad for his 70th birthday, which was awesome.
But you can't be these G's off the street.
So I think we should stop doing the lightning rounds because I think they're having an issue. They're causing the weather delays on the Bucks games.
Yeah,
I mean, we have back-to-back weeks with the weather delays. Now we're going to talk about 6 things that home buyers should know in this competitive real estate market.
6 things home buyers should know
or should do. I guess.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay. Top tips. And also Kevin Wilde, Florida Firearms Academy, back in the house. What's going on?
Doing good. Good to be here. Thanks for having me again. Today we're going to be talking about a hand-to-hand class that we're going to be offering coming up soon at Florida Firearms Academy and different tips you can utilize.
Nice. Yeah, love it. Love it. Good stuff, man. So tips on, the mainstream media is going to push certain things. We all know about how they operate and how they work. They operate out of fear. They operate out of this sheeple mentality, and so we're going to talk with Kevin here today and kind of dispel some of the myths around firearms and concealed permits and things that you can do as a homeowner. You can do it to protect your family. And Florida Firearms Academy, a great partner of the show, located right there in Oldsmar by the Oldsmar Flea Market, pretty close to that. What's the actual address?
13317 West Hillsborough Avenue.
Right on West Hillsborough Avenue. They got a cool class going on this weekend, talking about hand-to-hand type combat and in ways that you can protect yourself. So it's very important. We're seeing all these different geopolitical things happening out there, and a lot of things happening in the streets. So I've got a couple of hot listings here. As you know, I'm the host of the show. I also own a real estate brokerage, and I'm a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay, most recently featured in Top Agent Magazine. Top Agent Magazine just did a spread on me, a 2-page spread, and really excited about a lot of cool things happening. I'm interviewing for a nationally televised TV show again, and a lot of cool things, all types of stuff happening around the law of attraction, just bringing in these great opportunities, these great partners that I have the great fortune to spend time with on a weekly basis. But back to the listing side here, I got 8156 Causeway Boulevard South in St. Petersburg. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath property. 2,192 square feet, $646,000, and it's at 8156 Causeway Boulevard, St. Petersburg. The address of St. Petersburg is technically right across the bridge there in Treasure Island. So the waterfront and wide canal views of Boca Ciega Bay. Beautiful property here, 125 feet of water frontage, new seawall, great buying opportunity at 8156 Causeway Boulevard South. And also got a new listing. This is more of an entry-level type of a home at 4648 75th Avenue North in Pinellas Park. This is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath property, and it's listed at $149,000. So a great entry-level type starter home. And in Tampa Bay, there's great investment opportunities here. All right, perfect. So Curt Lorden batting leadoff today, and a lot of cool things happening in the Tampa Bay market, man. Study after study, statistics after statistics shows Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Bradenton, Sarasota. So many positive things happening in this market, and I think it's one of the reasons why this nationally televised or this producer reached out to me, because we're kind of competing for, at least my understanding is, against potentially Miami, Fort Lauderdale, or Jacksonville, different markets.
Right.
And I'm constantly telling him, hey, this is where you want to do this show.
Yeah, I mean, because you're getting in. I don't want to say ground level because we're above that, but we're surging very, very, very quickly, which is awesome. And I'm glad Kevin's going to do the hand-to-hand combat stuff, because we can help ward off all of those guys in clown masks. Yeah. That whole rash of people like creeping around in the woods wearing clown masks. It's insane. No, I mean, the one thing that we're struggling, in this area and really on a national level as well is inventory. Right. Outside of new home construction. I know that we. Last night's show, they talked about people having fear of listing their house and then it selling too quickly and them being homeless or whatever. And kind of to pair it off of what they said, you can decide how long you want that contract to be.
Right.
Do you want it to be 60 days, 90 days to give you that leeway to be able to find your next home? And I was reading an article and it went through 6 tips that home buyers should utilize that will put them in a more competitive edge when negotiating sales contracts or putting offers in or putting multiple offers in. And some of it is very just logical, and a lot of it was interesting to me, and I'll go into it. First and foremost, which is the logical, is look for structural issues. Because you walk in and you're blinded by the shiny appliances, the wonderful floors, the beautiful granite, not Ubatuba as Sarah Shirelli. Yeah. She hates that, but no, Ubatuba. It's just a cool word to say. Yeah. But look for sloping floors. Look for cracks that are more than an eighth of an inch long. It's like when these investors come out, if they don't do anything with the structure, it's essentially like putting lipstick on a pig. Yeah. So now all of that can be fixed with a renovation loan or something like that, but just keep an eye out for that. The other one is be strategic. Have your agent pull some information on the sellers and write them a personal note. There you go. And learn about them, which I never in a million years thought about that. But if you create kind of more of that personal feel, and when we used to do in-home presentations at Residential Finance, that's what we would do. We'd build that relationship, and we'll get into that a little bit.
You could also, one step further, Curt, send them a video.
Yeah.
These day and age, if you can get access to their email or phone.
Yeah, absolutely. The other is get an inside scoop. Do some digging. Spend some time in your desired neighborhood and go to the garage sales and talk to the neighbors, talk to the homeowner himself, and learn about the home, learn about them on an individual personal level.
We want to hire MJ for something like that. That might be a stretch, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Come on.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
There's a difference between utilizing this and just straight up stalking.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah.
The other thing is, there's this price psychology, and this from being a listing agent. You have the numbers 9 and 0. I'd be more apt to buy something for $59 than $60, even though it's only $1 more, but we have that thing in our head. But there's also the difference between 5 and 0. Yep. And then, obviously also, 1 and 0. So if you have multiple offers on a house for, say, $235, your best bet is to go in at, and there's multiple offers, go in at $231 or go in at $236. That seller is going to see that 1 digit higher and more than likely take that offer versus what was on on the actual, initial offer. So
Yeah.
just be able to utilize those things, for your advantage, and don't be afraid to have a very straightforward conversation with your real estate agent.
Yep.
You have to be just as informed as your agent is, because this is your home.
That's right.
The other thing is, when you go look at a home, do some digging, do some, observing. When we used to go in homes, we would pick like the gaudiest thing in someone's house. We make a comment and strike up a conversation. Yeah. So if you see that they have a bunch of books from Ireland, write a personal note when you attach your offer and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Homebuyer, I see that you guys have a bunch of books from Ireland. My wife and I just got back from Ireland.
Yep.
Make sure it's a legitimate connection. Don't just make something up. I'm not advocating lying, but if you have that, or even send a picture of you and your spouse or the other homeowner or home buyer along with them. So because remember, you're buying someone else's home, and they want to be a likable buyer. And we'll get into this more in the next segment, but you're probably going to sell it to someone that's nice versus someone that isn't nice.
Absolutely. And more from our expert contributors. We're also going to have Kevin Wilde, Florida Firearms Academy, chiming in. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Real Estate Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty, and also a former USF football player, played on the inaugural football team over at USF, celebrating 20 years of football now since we started this program out back in the day. Shout out to Jim Levitt. He's also on our YouTube channel. If you want to see some cool videos, check out our YouTube channel at REQB Show, and we would love for you to subscribe as well and keep updated with things happening in the Tampa Bay market, giving you that game, that overall game view, that helicopter view of the marketplace, making you more street smart. And this segment is brought to you by Manny Polizzi with Electric Today, electrical and air conditioning work in existing homes and businesses. For all of your electrical and air conditioning needs, call Electric Today. and let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you over at 813-653-4221. You can reach out to Electric today at 653-4221. Service today without delay. Big shout out to Manny Polizzi, longtime friend of the program, as well as Michael Lisenko. He's our safe money coach here in Tampa Bay. He's a fiduciary. He's a financial advisor. He's our safe money coach. So if you want to have some information around investments, things happening with your portfolio, I recommend just at least get a review. It never hurts to have Michael sit down with you and review what you're doing with your hardest earned asset, your hard-earned money, putting it into your retirement plan. And so Michael Lisenko, Safe Money Coach. All of our expert contributors are at consumerqb.com. Click on the expert contributors tab, and you'll see all of our expert contributors there as well. And we're back here in studio, beautiful South Tampa here, iHeartRadio, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's your most important hour on the radio, as well as on the weekends. We have a weekend show on 102.5 The Bone on Sunday morning, bright and early at 7 a.m. Couple of hot listings here I want to pitch. I've got 18003 Cozumel Isle Drive in Tampa. This is a beautiful Quarry Lake Isles property, 5 bedrooms, 4 bath, 3,690 square feet heated, and it's listed at $1.199 million. Beautiful waterfront property. You've got the Infinity Edge pool and 24-inch glass tile. This home is immaculate. It's very modern chic design, as well as 700 St. Petersburg Drive West in Oldsmar. This is a commercial opportunity. If you want to relocate your business, think about this opportunity to relocate your business in a great area. It's on a busy road, 700 St. Petersburg Drive West in Oldsmar. $295,000 and you got almost 1,400 square feet of great potential there at commercial building on St. Petersburg Drive West in Oldsmar. So for this or any of your buying opportunities, or if you maybe want an introduction to all of our 80-plus show partners, CPAs, financial advisors, attorneys, anybody, we want you to think of this show as a turnkey solution and the hub of your financial will. Each spoke extending out, representing another one of our preferred partners, the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region of Florida that we bring on air, and we are consumer advocates, and they want to help you win. They have awesome discounts for different types of programs or services that they sell, and all of our folks are listed at consumerqb.com. And so let's go ahead and jump back into this content. We're talking with Curt Lorden before the break. And Curt, what else you seeing out there, man?
Well, to kind of go back to what we were talking about as far as being like a likable buyer, you got to remember, as I said in the last segment, you're buying someone's home, someone that has had numerous years of dreams, or memories, and raising their kids and this, that, and the other. And if you have children yourself, you have a lovely home. We'd love to live there. I have 2 kids myself. I can't wait to have the same memories that you shared. All of that stuff will create, kind of a connection. You never know. You may end up making a new friend with the people that sold your home. And put yourself in the seller's shoes. They want to sell it to someone who isn't going to take care of something that they've lived in for a very long time.
Yep.
And the other thing is be open-minded. A lot of times we come to situations where the home owner may either have been put in a nursing home or maybe passed away, and there's pink Formica, and it's just outdated. There's wallpaper and all of this other stuff. Well, be open-minded. Look at the bones. You can always do a 203K renovation or a home style renovation and make it into yours. So if you put this all together and you take those 6 steps and you apply that to your home buying process, it may sound a little cheesy. I'm not going to lie. You're writing a note and all this other stuff. It's out of our comfort zone, but we're doing something different. We're swimming against the stream, and typically
it works.
Yeah, if you're not following the sheep, you're doing the right thing. It's kind of like when you put money on a football game. Now, I'm not advocating gambling, but if the public's moving one way, you go the other way, chances are you're probably going to, win in that regard. So,
well, on that point, Curt, the value of a handwritten thank you card, something like you're saying, pull up, write a letter, and then when was the last time you received a thank you card from someone?
It's been a while.
Right. And I got one this week, and it was a friend that I reconnected with, brought him into the show, and talked to him about the opportunity. They have a really unique niche business for our on-air branding package. Yeah. But that kind of stuff sticks out in your mind.
It really, really does. I remember the old owner of Residential Finance, he was using some sort of I don't know what it was, whatever the Muzak or whatever, and it was ungodly expensive. But the lady actually wrote him a thank you note for just spending time with him, and he signed on the dotted line and paid way too high. But it was just because she took that extra time, and it set herself apart from the other vendors. And need to set yourself apart from other buyers.
That's right.
Because you technically are a vendor. You're buying, you're buying something from someone. So it's important to do that. As far as everything else, I mean, we've labored over the whole Fed. I mean, I don't even know why the Fed even speaks anymore because she's saying the same gibberish over and over again. Bottom line, keep it simple. Rates are low. Buy a home now before the end of the year. Get the added tax, tax deduction. Start your, whatever holiday you celebrate. Get in the home before that, so you can start your memories immediately.
Right.
So,
and also at the end of the year, also there's some credits that I think that are running out. There's some different things expiring. I know we had Sean Yesner on the show, and he was talking about the short sale. The deficiency balance.
Yep, I think that runs out the end of this year, if I'm not mistaken. We unfortunately lost the $8,000 first-time home buyer credit. That may come back one day. Who knows? Yep. But I mean, everything. Your points are tax deductible. Obviously consult your CPA, but get ahead of the curve. Yep. And then you have all of next year's mortgage interest that'll be tax deductible.
That's right. Curt Lorden here on the Real Estate Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes, and Curt. I also like to talk about the difference between a lot of what people are kind of programmed to do. Let's face it. Let's look back. One of the books I'm reading right now is Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he's talking about have a mind that's attached to nothing and open to everything. So think about how much programming is taken an effect in our mind of where we're born or what type of area we're from or what type of religious affiliation we have. It's all kind of been handed down to us. And so I think a lot of these same financial beliefs are handed down to us as well. When you think about, okay, well, I got to go into the bank and I got to go in and get a mortgage now. So the banks, they're holding deposits, they're doing security bonds, they're all these different things. And what I'd like to also talk about is that they're the guys that took the bailout money. They took our taxpayer money. They went out and bought the most prime real estate on the corner of the major intersections that they could. They also gave their CEOs and executives these $1 million parachutes, multi-million-dollar parachutes as a retirement. Oh, good job, on your way out. So why would you want to support that? If you're looking at a mortgage, if you're looking at this decision, when we have local lenders right here in Tampa Bay, Corey Jeffries, Curt Lorden, Interlinc Mortgage, local lender. Support your local economy, folks.
Absolutely. And one of those big banks was just suspended in 2 states from doing any investment activities. California and Illinois. You guys can do your research and figure out which one it was. Yeah. But no, you're right. I mean, the media, the big banks, they look at 2 things. What are your closing costs? What are your fees? They don't peel that onion back. They don't look at what your household interest rate is, which is the aggregate of what your interest is. They don't look at what your short-term and long-term goals are. They don't look at, one of your children maybe leaving the nest. They may need a college fund. They don't look at those extra things. And, your home is your home. I mean, absolutely, first and foremost, it's the place where you lay your head every single night. Home is where the heart is. You're going to raise your kids there. You're going to have fantastic, family memories. But beyond that, it can be utilized as a financial vehicle to lessen financial stress. Your finances are like a rubber band. Sometimes they contract, sometimes they expand. Your economy goes just like the U.S. economy. It goes up and down based on what's transpiring. Yep. They don't look at the individual that's working 30 hours a week in overtime and doing some debt consolidation to lessen that amount of money that they need to spend. So maybe that individual gets to work less overtime and spend more time with his family. Yeah. There is no personal touch with those big banks, and it drives me insane that people still go in droves because they're following they're following the mainstream. They're following this. They're not thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, the sheeple mentality. It's out there, and we want to help you win no matter what you're looking at doing out there. Let's go ahead and bring Kevin into the conversation. Kevin Wilde, representing Florida Firearm Academy, and more from Curt in a moment. But I wanted to bring Kevin in and kind of give a little teaser what we're going to talk about today on the show, man.
Well, I recently just taught a hand-to-hand class to a local church, and I had about 8 guys there, and their concern was, how can we escort someone out of the church if there being an issue? And the first question I said is, well, this is church. What kind of problems are you really having here? But regardless, it's interesting to think about it.
Funny.
Yeah, we're here to worship, and someone's got the spirit too much. I guess you got to take them out. But there is a possibility that they may be a target, given everything that's going on. Different religious beliefs, different racial backgrounds, all sorts of different things could happen.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that as well.
So it's just interesting to think about, in those types of situations, not just even from a liability standpoint, but from a moral standpoint.
Yep.
What if you don't have your firearm on you? What can you do? And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about here is that hand-to-hand aspect, or in some instances, the ability to take an improvised weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's very important you stay with us. We're gonna touch base here with Kevin, talk about also a class that he's got coming up soon as well. And we want to help you win, no matter what you're looking at doing, protecting your family, finances, business, estate planning, tax planning, credit, mortgage, finance. So many ways that we can help you. ConsumerQB.com is our website. The hotline is 813-917-1894. Stay with us. We're going to talk with Kevin Wilde, Florida Firearms Academy, in just a quick moment here. So stay with us. We'll see you soon.
Enjoy tranquil seclusion in an eco-lover's paradise. Paddling through the mangroves where the only sounds you'll hear are the sounds of nature. Because you deserve to relax on vacation. Visit Pasco County, Florida.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
Ever need a doctor after hours? Well, searching won't help. But what do? You could go to the urgent care or ER, but if only there was a better way. Introducing the MNO Plus card. No waiting rooms, no copay, no consultation fee, giving you 24/7 access to a doctor by phone or online. It's easy to get started with affordable plans starting at $15 a month for a family of 5. For more information, visit mnoplus.com today.
Everyone's story is different, so why be limited to just one or two options? With Norcom's Norflex Home Loan, you're given the flexibility to tell your story. Pick your terms from 8 to 30 years, all while maintaining a low, fixed mortgage rate. You can pay off your loan more quickly or choose a term based on your budget and timeline. Whatever you do with the Norflex Home Loan, make it part of your financial plan. Norflex. Short-term, long-term, your terms. Apply online at norcommortgage.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Real Estate Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. And a big shout out to Bob Grosso at A Better Pools. Does a great job on our pools. Has a pool service as well. If you're looking to maybe get pool service, his son's running that division of the company of A Better Pools. Great guy, Bob Grosso, longtime friend of the program. A Better Pools, as well as Source One Solutions, Honeywell Technology, security company, Big shout out to Robert Hessel and his team over at Source One Solutions, the official security partner of the Real Estate Quarterback Show with Honeywell Technology. Does a great job, businesses and personal. So we're back here in studio, live from iHeartRadio. I'm Brandon Rhymes, your host here. I'm a top listing agent in Tampa Bay, recently featured in Top Agent Magazine, the Florida Realtor Magazine multiple times, Tampa Bay Business Journal, and the Tribune. And I've got a couple of hot listings here. I got 8211 Brent Street, number 838 in Port Richey. This is Sand Pebble Point condo, 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. Comes with a boat dock, waterfront property, elegantly designed 2-bedroom, 2-bath waterfront condo, and it's 1,400 square foot living, unobstructed panoramic views of the Gulf of Mexico at 8211 Brent Street, number 838. And I've got Gardner Road. This is a 27-acre ranch back on the market. Attention builders, developers, entrepreneurs, anyone out there looking to maybe build high-end custom homes. Gardner Road, this property it's a gorgeous property. It's currently operating as a ranch. It's located just minutes south of the Citrus Park Mall in the heart of Tampa Bay, and it's just to the east of the Veterans Expressway on Gardner Road. Great buying opportunity. $1.27 million, 27-acre ranch. Build some amazing custom homes there, or an assisted living facility would be a great buying selling opportunity here in Tampa Bay.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, let's jump right into it, Kevin. Florida Firearms Academy, hand-to-hand combat, concealed permits. You got an awesome gun range over there. A lot of cool things that our listeners can take you up on.
One interesting thing that we have at our range that I think differentiates us from the other facilities in the area is we teach other classes outside of just gun stuff.
Right.
We teach first aid classes, gunshot wound treatment classes. We also teach the hand-to-hand classes as well, which are critical skills. Not even if you're getting shot, but you should know how to treat first aid. And the tactics or techniques that you use to stop the bleeding from a gunshot wound could be utilized for any type of wound you have. All right. How do you stop bleeding? Direct pressure. Okay. But without having that experience or training, you wouldn't know that.
Yep.
The hand-to-hand class we have coming up is really interesting because I'm not the only person teaching it. I'm a firm believer you never know everything. So I continue training myself.
Yeah.
A trainer always has a trainer. You know, personal trainers don't just make up their own stuff. They sometimes outsource to other people to help them get new ideas. So the gentleman I'll be working with is Joe Harrison of Harrison Martial Arts, and he's going to come in and partner with me, and we're going to discuss these different tactics and techniques. And this class specifically is focusing on improvised weapons. One of the examples we're going to be using is it's a scarf, and it's called a sarong, or some people call them shamags. And the cool part about this thing is it's not that, in Florida we wear scarves, but who's ever had their T-shirt over their neck, or whoever's had a towel over their neck.
Right.
You can utilize that tool, and most people wouldn't even realize it. Another one that I'm going to be handling is ink pens. You wouldn't think of it, but an ink pen is a great impact weapon that you could utilize, especially if you have a fountain pen that has one of the steel tips on it. You don't even have to put ink in it. Just the fact that it is sharp, you could utilize that if you had to. And what type of situations would you be in for this? Well, let's think about it. Let's say you're on an airplane. What can you have with you?
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't have your firearm on you.
Yep.
And if a situation presented itself, what should you do? Let's say, I think in recent memory, I just read an article about who's the sheriff from Minnesota? David Clark. He was on a flight, and there was an unruly passenger, and he had to take care of it, but obviously he can't have his firearm on him. So what was he having to rely on to handle that?
Wow.
And that's an interesting thing we talked about at the church as well, is if you have someone that's being an issue, should I just walk up by myself? What do you guys think? Obviously, that doesn't seem like a good idea, because one-on-one, what's that person thinking? I might have a shot. I can take this guy, right? So if you send in multiple people, let's say 2 people minimum, 3 people ideally, what's this guy really going to try to do? Because at the end of the day, they're going to know what? Okay, I may get 1 hit in, but I know I'm definitely not going to win against the other 2 guys. It's, look at law enforcement. Whenever they ideally when they respond to a scene, how many officers are handling this guy? And some people say it's excessive force. It's excessive force. Is the person complying? Right. If you're doing what you're told, 9 times out of 10, they're probably not going to have to do that. But if you're not complying, you're going to have to face those consequences. And the same exact thing. If you have a neighbor who's causing an issue, should you go over by yourself, or should you maybe partner with your other members of your community watch and try to address it as a group as opposed to just an individual?
Right.
You don't want to argue with people. Okay, I've been reading a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah, I love that one.
Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
And in it, he says, never argue with people.
Yep.
Because even if you win the argument, you still lost because that person's going to hold resent for you.
Yep.
And one of the best quotes from that book was, a man convinced against his will still thinks he's right still.
Is of the same opinion still.
Right.
Yep.
And it's, if you have an issue with someone, what's arguing going to do with them, really?
Right.
And the example I really like to give people is, have you ever argued with a drunk person?
Right.
How's that work out for you? And they just go round and round and round, and they're not listening to logic or reason.
Yep.
Now, let's say we have that individual, they're not listening to logic and reason, and then they want to get physical with you.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know how to transition between empty hand to firearm. You can't just jump straight to gun.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things we kind of cover in this class is the mindset,
Mm-hmm.
but also the tool set that you will need to be able to respond accordingly.
I love it.
It's great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it this Saturday. I'm going to be there, man. 10 a.m. Located at Florida Firearms Academy, hand-to-hand combat. I love the idea of using other types of, materials that are going to be around in your defense.
Absolutely.
And, a lot of times, let's face it, there's things that happen. I've been in situations that, wow, you weren't expecting it, and you almost have to expect the unexpected these days. So we're talking with Kevin Wilde here, Florida Firearms Academy. What else are you seeing, man?
Well, one of the other things that you wouldn't think is a weapon would be a magazine. You take a magazine and you can roll it up nice and tight, and that will act in a very similar manner as a stick, which is something we're going to be discussing too, is you can use that as an impact weapon, or you could use it to create distance if you needed to. With the elections coming up, we've seen a definite increase in people wanting to get their concealed weapons license or wanting to buy firearms. And I just got into it with a group of students the other day. It was a concealed weapons class, and I usually start off, how many of you guys have ever shot guns before? And one person raised their hand and said, I've never even touched one. This is my first time. And I always equate that to, okay, I have a Ferrari out there. Have you ever driven a car before 200 miles an hour? Let's start. Let's just go out there and hit it.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more that goes to carrying a firearm than just, I take this class and I'm good. You need to understand that there are consequences and responsibilities that will last a lifetime. And you guys are talking about buying a home. That's a great asset that someone can take from you in civil court because you did something that you're not supposed to be doing.
Right.
Even if you were cleared criminally, they can still come after you civilly.
Right.
And how much money is it going to take to be able to defend yourself against that, both civilly and criminally? So it's just, training is definitely a requisite requirement if you're going to be a responsible armed citizen. And the sad truth is no one does that.
Yeah, the training, it's sharpening the saw as well. Is what Covey talks about. Is you always want to sharpen the skills. I love your comment earlier about you're progressing. You look at doctors. You look at they call it a practice for a reason because you're practicing. You're never going to be the best you can be until you keep pressing forward and you're progressing in your practice. So yeah, look at gun ownership the same way. Make sure you're doing the right things. You're sharpening the saws, so to speak.
One instance talking about that stands out in my mind is I had a former Special Forces guy come into my class, and he was only there for moral support because his wife was taking the class. And we all know as males, you can't teach your wife or your significant other. Okay, it doesn't matter if I was a professional golfer. I can't teach her how to golf because I don't know what I'm talking about. So this guy came in as support for his wife. And what was funny about this is he was doing the usual, just sitting there, not even paying attention, not even acknowledging the information being put out because he already knew it. Been there, done that.
Yep.
And what's funny is his wife actually outshot him because she listened and she actually applied the tactics and techniques.
Wow.
Because it's like anything. The school of thought changes. Different tactics and techniques will come from different avenues. And most of the stuff you're seeing today that's being taught comes from competition shooters. But he was of the old school mindset and the old guard and didn't want to take in the new information. And
let me ask you, Kevin, when it comes down to the concealed, because I remember when I got mine some years ago, I think all I shot was a cap gun or something.
Yeah, and we call them puppy mills. And what it is you literally go in there, they just tell you a couple statutes, you pick up a gun, you shoot it, you're done. That's it.
Yeah, it was
End
literally a cap gun, man. I was like, seriously?
That's it. And it's unfortunate because technically in the Florida statute, they have to discharge a live firearm with live ammunition. So some people are getting away with it, some aren't. If the NRA finds out about it, they can pull your creds.
I was just kidding, actually. That was a friend of mine that did that. But yeah, so.
Yeah, totally was a live gun. Totally.
But I've got I got the renew deal paperwork, so I'll bring that with me too, so
Sure.
he can help me process that. But yeah, Kevin Wilde, Florida Firearms Academy, hand-to-hand class is going on this Saturday over at the awesome location on Hillsborough Avenue. What was the numbers again?
13317 West Hillsborough Avenue.
13317 West Hillsborough Avenue, right there by the Oldsmar Flea Market. Come check it out. It's a really cool facility. You can go in and learn a lot about ways that you're going to be able to protect your family. So stay with us. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm Brandon Rhymes, Real Estate Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. This segment is brought to you by MJ Martinez over at AdvantagePI.com. Cheaters, child custody, divorce, corporate insurance, criminal background sweeps, electronic sweeps, background checks. Advantage PI, private investigator partner on the show, is MJ Martinez. And also a big shout out to Target Surveying. They do a lot of our real estate surveys for the real estate properties with Platinum MVP Realty. And got a couple of hot listings here. I got 8203 US Highway 301 South in Riverview. This is a beautiful property. It's a corner opportunity, downtown Riverview, listed at $599,000, just reduced. Great buying opportunity. Currently has a tenant in place that's operating as a restaurant, but it's just listed 0.7 acres, 30 parking spaces, US Highway 301 South in Riverview. That's 8203 US Highway 301 South. As well as 5722 Tanacreside Road in Lithia, Parkside Village, Fishhawk. Great opportunity here. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath property. listed at $450,000, just reduced, and it's listed at 3,236 square feet. Another great buying opportunity in beautiful Tampa Bay.
No shoes, no shirt, and no problem.
All right, Kevin. So in the previous shows too, we've talked about some of the mainstream media and ways they try to twist and turn things a little bit and manipulate listeners and viewers to and a lot of times they use these headlines. That just the simple fact that they say the AR-15, they talk about that machine. What's your thoughts in general about the media, how they do that?
What sells papers? You know what I mean? What gets viewers into you? One interesting article, I can't remember which site it was talking about the number of officer-involved shootings.
Yeah.
And I asked my students this. I said, do you think it's a realistic possibility that Tampa could face protesting and rioting in the event something like that happened? And, well, yeah, anything's possible. I said, well, on this site, they actually had Tampa listed as one of the cities that has a lot of officer-involved shootings. Now, they show you this big, huge bar graph that took up half the screen, but when you actually hit the number, it was only 4.
Yeah.
California had 20.
Yep.
So, I mean, it happens, but luckily, our media in this local area doesn't really push it a whole lot, but that is a realistic possibility that you could face, absolutely. And what would you do in that situation?
Yeah.
How would you respond? An interesting article I like to tell people to do is when you walk out of your house, try to look for someone watching you. Mm-hmm. I live in an apartment building now, and I did this the other day myself personally, and I just sat outside, not really sat there, but I walked outside and I just looked around, and I tried to find all the areas that someone could be surveying you, watching you. Right? Now, obviously, why is someone going to come after me? I don't know. Maybe I'm cool. Maybe I did something. Who knows? But as your assets increase, as your net value increases, as you become more wealthy yourself, you tend to acquire nicer things. Lifestyle creep, which I was reading an article about that, is as you make more money, you start spending more money on different things because you think your level increases. So imagine you're Kim Kardashian, who recently just got robbed, okay? Mm-hmm. She's a target. Do you think she's really paying attention to what's going on around her as far as, okay, this person's been following me, this is kind of weird. Or at your house, let's say you have a nice house in the side of a gated area, does that really protect you? How easy is it to go through the gate? How often do you actually have to earn in the code? You just follow the car in front of you, and is that car going to stop themselves and say, hold on, time out.
Yeah.
Who are you? What are you doing here? Where do you live? They're not going to do that. They have their own agenda. They have their own things worrying about. So if you see a car that's parked on the end of the street, are you really going to look at it as a threat, or are you just going to be so focused in your day-to-day life that you just discard it and you notice, you know what, that car's there again tonight when I got home, and they've been there the next day and the next day. Are they a neighbor? Did they move in? Who are they, and why do they continue being outside of my house? What's going on with that?
Yeah.
And most people are so oblivious to that, they don't even think about that. And that's what we call a baseline. Okay, now a baseline is, let's take concussion tests, for example. As a football player, you probably had to take one, didn't you? Which means you answered a set of questions. That way, in the event you ever got hit in the head, they could ask you the questions. That way, they establish what's your baseline, what's your norm, and what's different.
Right.
So in your day-to-day life, you need to establish a baseline. Mm-hmm. So, for example, let's say we were at Starbucks. Okay, we're sitting there enjoying ourselves, and then all of a sudden we see a guy walk in with a big, long black trench coat.
Yep.
Is that part of our baseline in Florida? Absolutely not. It's hot, okay? I don't want to walk outside in jeans right now because I know I'm going to sweat. And imagine a guy walking in with a trench coat.
Yep.
That's definitely outside of the norm. So what should we be doing at that point? We've already identified it.
Yeah.
Now we need to start thinking, okay, what's my orient? What am I going to do to address this? And orient doesn't mean I'm attacking them. Orient means I'm trying to get out of there. I'm trying to avoid that situation. Mm-hmm. Once I figured that out, then I need to make a decision. What's my decision going to be? Then I act on it. That's called the OODA loop. Observe, orient, decide, act. But here's the secret, is they're doing the OODA loop too. Mm-hmm. They're walking in. Who's my biggest threat?
Yeah.
Who's this guy? Who's that guy? That guy looked kind of big. He's probably going to be the first one I'm going for. I want to make sure that I can funnel everybody. So where am I going to position myself? So whoever does the OODA loop faster wins. And that is another thing that comes down to just survival in itself, is being aware, knowing what's going on, watching body language. 80% of communication isn't even the words you say.
Yeah.
It's how you say it, your tone.
Yep.
I tell students all the time, how many different ways can your child say yes to you?
Right.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. There's so many different ways, and that tone dictates their message. And I mean, even going to look at a house, how do you know that person's really your realtor? Mm-hmm. How do you know that that's someone else isn't in that house with you? You know what I mean? There's so many different situations where you have to be paying attention. You can't just assume that won't happen to me.
And for those also that don't want to carry a concealed permit, let's say you're totally against having a gun, at least have some pepper spray, some mace, something along those lines. I know they make these little cool keychains for women to hold.
Yep,
and
they're called the cat's paw.
The cat's paw. I mean, there's some other options that are non-lethal for folks out there that are saying, you guys are being a little bit, but the people, that's the thing is you have to be. Many people are looking down at their phones, they're walking and talking, or texting and tweeting and all that good stuff. So. Yeah, Kevin Wilde, Florida Firearms Academy. Let's go ahead and jump into our lightning round here, fellas. All right, top consumer tips, things to do, things to avoid. Curt, you're up first.
Buy a pen and apparently carry a magazine.
At all times.
At all times.
Always. Always have that on you.
Yeah, there you go.
That's funny. No, so basically, we're coming down to the end of the year. Start getting all your financial documents together. Meet with your financial planner. Meet with your CPA, and also meet with your mortgage consultant if you own a home. That way you can get everything in order and go into the next year with a clean financial slate and a clean, clear plan on what your 2017 is going to look like.
That's right. Take the initiative, build a better legacy for your family, and it's that comprehensive view that we talk about a lot. Curt, is having the CPA talk to the financial advisor, talking to your mortgage loan officer. Financial advisors, your administrator for your retirement plan, maybe Scott Maurer over at Advanta IRA. But consumer tips, things to do, things to avoid, Kevin.
I would say avoid the bargain basement firearm if you are buying a firearm. I like to tell people stay above $400. Okay, the reason being is you get what you pay for. And some firearms, I won't name them, end up being better kayak anchors than they do a firearm for self-defense because it will not function for you. You get what you pay for with everything. If I was going to be riding a motorcycle, I'm not going to go to Walmart and buy the helmet. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get a shoey to make sure that my head's actually protected. My brain is something that I can't buy another one of. Your life is something you can't buy another one of. So if you feel the need that you have to protect yourself, invest in that protection. Don't cheap out on it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also, to your point as well on previous shows also, is when you make that decision, when you say, hey, this is, I feel that inner voice saying, wow, I'm in an area of danger, you got to commit to that decision. If you do have that, and it also, just in general business speaking here, it talks about talking about the discipline of clear thinking. Think of it as a bucket of silt. You got water with a bunch of dirt in this bucket, right? The longer you sit, the longer you allow this to comprehend in your mind and to process, that silt is going to settle to the bottom of the bucket, right? So now you're going to have a clear understanding of what the situation is. And a great quote by Thomas Edison says, thinking is the hardest of all disciplines. And the rule is think on paper. You write it down, you write your pros, the cons, the cost, the people or assets involved. Fast decisions are usually wrong decisions. So develop the discipline of clear thinking. It's crucial to your success. We got about 30 seconds each, Curt.
Just whenever you see a news article, don't take it for face value. Do your research. About 10 years ago, I actually read an article. The headline was "Eating Peanut Butter Outside Causes Cancer." Dead serious. I had the article someplace. It was in the newspaper. I got to find it. I'm like, are you serious? But I mean, that's the kind of stuff that's out there. You got to do your due diligence. You got to dig deeper. Fact check, ask questions. Just being a good consumer.
That's right. Making more street smart here on the Quarterback Show. Kevin?
Paying attention. Just pay attention to everything and everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Focus, the power, one of the most, the biggest gifts that we have, the present, is the present tense. Stay in the present, right? The term present. And then also where we focus, our energy flows. Where you focus, your energy goes, and that's going to lead to, whatever you're focusing on. People that focus on debt, they're going to be in more debt. People that focus on success and inspiration and love and success, they're going to get more of that in their life. They're going to attract that energy back to them. And, so the power of focus is a great point as well. I want to thank Kevin Wilde, Florida Firearms Academy. I want to thank Curt Lorden, Interlinc Mortgage here in Tampa Bay, and also all of our listeners and viewers out there, our team behind the scenes making it happen, and also our Facebook Live listeners there as well. And please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness, something as simple as bringing leftovers and handing it to the person that you see on the side of the road every day. And we'll see you here, same place, same time tomorrow night. Take care.